Welcome back, everybody. If you've been paying attention to politics for the last couple months, then you've probably seen that the assassination of Charlie Kirk has become an enormous meme. Like, I've just been seeing random apolitical posters on social media referring to fictional characters getting killed as getting kirked. It's great. It's a massive cultural event, and most people are not referring to his death as like a tragedy, but instead as sort of just something to laugh about or joke about. It's just this assassination everybody's aware of, so everybody is joking about it and making memes about it. Whether you're left or right, or even apolitical, it's just that big thing that happened, right? People have been making memes of it, joking about it, etc., etc. But you know who's really not helped? I feel like a lot more people would feel bad about making jokes, making light of Charlie Kirk's fentanyl overdose, if it weren't for the fact that his wife has been so weird. For the first few days, she was acting normal enough that most people were willing to look past it. Like, Erika Kirk was always weird. The second I saw her come out on stage after Charlie was assassinated, just seeing her eyes and her face and just the way she acts and carries herself and sounds, I was getting some weird vibes, but it wasn't enough. But over the last few weeks, her behavior has gotten so consistently weird that everybody's making jokes and memes about it. Even a lot of conservatives and Charlie Kirk fans are out here like, is Erika Kirk fucking JD Vance? Like a month after her husband's death, is she fucking JD Vance? There's a lot of evidence to suggest that she might be. Apparently, JD Vance and his wife's marriage is on the rocks right now for unknown reasons. All the while, you got clips of Erika Kirk referring to JD Vance as the only man who could replace Charlie Kirk. It's like, as she's like hugging him in that, like with her hand on the back of his head, it's like, okay, you're not leaving a lot up to interpretation, Erika. You're really not. You're leading people to some pretty insane conclusions right now. And so pretty much everybody has come to the conclusion that she is pretty darn sus. That there is something about her that even if you can't quite put it into words, it comes off as insincere and perhaps even sinister. Which is why we've even got like drama YouTubers like this channel, Lou Extras, making videos like this one called The Curious Case of Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk is so odd and strange. She has become clickbait for speculation from drama creators. And I thought we'd take a look at one of these like normie drama videos about Erika Kirk and how her handling of her husband's death has arguably undone a lot of the cultural groundwork that had been done after his death in order to turn him into a martyr that America would want to rally behind. Frankly, Erika's undone a lot of that work, and I'd like to see the effect it's had on normies here. So if you guys are excited, leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe if you want to see more from me, and join the fan Discord if you haven't already. But yeah, let's get right into it, shall we?
Grief is one of the most painful and confusing things that any of us can endure. When navigating it, the strange cocktail of emotions that it conjures up, ranging from loss to regret, sadness, and anger, can make us act out of character or struggle to regulate ourselves as we usually would. But we all know that it's an integral part of the human experience, and so we generally cut people a lot of slack when they're going through it. Although this isn't always the case if it doesn't register as genuine. And at the moment, no one is under the microscope like Erika Kirk. Just a few months ago, the world was...
I have to say, to an extent, she's got an unfortunate face for the situation she's in. She's got these, like, there's something about her eyes that comes off as, like, predatory. Like, reptilian, in a sense. You know how when you look at a cat or, like, a lizard's eyes, and they just... You know it's an animal that was made by nature to kill, like, basically non-stop killing because of, like, where its eyes are and how they are. I can't be the only one who like, can just look at an animal's eyes and it's like, that's a predator. The same vibe I get when I see the eyes of a cat or a reptile are the same vibe I get from looking at Erika Kirk's eyes. Like, the same vibe. Like, oh yeah, those are the eyes of a predator. Some kind of flesh-eating predator.
No one is under the microscope like Erika Kirk. Just a few months ago, the world was collectively rocked by the news that her right-wing commentator husband, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated while speaking at a campus in Utah.
Breaking news out of Utah Valley University.
There's an emergency response there.
I will say this morning, I watched a video from the Birdman, where he features like a 5-minute long clip of Charlie Kirk talking about how not only should America have public executions, but children as young as 12 should be forced to watch them in order to instill a sense of justice in them from a young age. And after seeing that, it really just dashed every last bit of sympathy. Like, knowing that Charlie Kirk believed in having, like, monkey paw curls real. Like, knowing that Charlie Kirk literally believed children as young as 12 should be forced to watch state-mandated public executions of criminals. And then the fact that he got executed publicly, like, you really couldn't make that up. The fact that he had gone on record saying to protect the Second Amendment, he would be willing to see many Americans die, it's worth it for the Second Amendment, and then he dies to gun violence, like, immediately after arguing in favor of the Second Amendment. You cannot make that up. Like, the irony levels are through the roof.
By law enforcement.
The conservative activist Charlie Kirk has died after being shot during an event.
And despite the fact that everything would suggest that she's suffering like never before, his wife has not been given a whole lot of grace by the public. Because in the eyes of many onlookers, there is something dark going down. And the more that people dig, the more they're not liking what they see at all.
The hands on the waist is something, bro. Liz, all I'm saying is, if another man grabbed my girl like that, we're gonna have a fucking problem. It's not gonna be the kind of thing that you just kind of move on from and don't think about. Like, this is the kind of thing that's gonna, there's gonna have to be a conversation. Like, this is not, like, that's way too low down. Like, he's having to actively reach down to have his hands on her hips like that, by the way. Like you know, he's obviously way taller than her. Like, it would be more natural for him to put his hands, like, a little higher up on her waist.
Leading to way more scrutiny on a widow than you would ever expect.
Yeah, maybe Charlie was a cuck. Hard to say. The right are the ones who just out of nowhere made cuckold into a political insult. I'd never heard the word cuck before in my life before the right started using it as an insult, and I had to find out what it meant because the right was using it as an insult. When your opposition starts using an insult or like an allegation that you've never even heard before, that's a pretty good sign that they might be projecting. Like, God, where did you people get this cuck idea from? Like where is this coming from? So who knows? Maybe Charlie Cuck was a cuck.
A just God, and I rest easy in knowing that He's sovereign, but He's just. And so let the Lord.
She's so
that.
creepy. Okay, you look at her eyes! Look at her eyes! Y'all see what I mean, right? When I say you look at her eyes and it's like, okay, yeah, this is a creature developed by Darwinism, by evolution and nature, to kill. These are the eyes of a predator.
And so let the Lord handle that.
Would Charlie have forgiven his killer?
He's in heaven.
She's so fucking creepy, bro. She's so creepy. Bruh. Dude, Charlie Kirk.
What are we?
Dude, Charlie Kirk in heaven right now. Well, it'd be hell, but like, Charlie Kirk in hell right now. Like, literally all Satan would have to do to torture Charlie Kirk in hell is just set him up in a chair and then have him watch what his wife is up to ever since his death on a big flat screen TV he's not allowed to stop looking away from. Like, that would be the best form of torture in hell, where Charlie Kirk is right now as we speak.
Supposed to do relive that
Like, the devil's job has been made so easy for him.
trauma all over again? No, at this point, it's what, the conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Stop in the name of God. Amen.
There it is. That
Because to
fucking...
some of his
Dude. I know that I mentioned the hands on the waist thing earlier, but bro. Ooh, just doesn't. Ooh, that's not normal, man. That's not normal. That's not... I've been hugged by a lot of women before, platonically. And I've been hugged by a lot of women non-platonically before. When they hug like this, they're doing it non-platonically, in my experience. If their hand is touching your head, like that's not just non-platonic, that's like forward.
Because to some of his supporters, it really seems like her taking on the mantle of her slain husband might destroy whatever legacy he'd hoped to leave. It's your boy Luesta, live from Lu Extras, and this is the curious case of Erika Kirk. As we know, Erika first truly emerged in the wake of his slaying that shocked the world, alongside a video.
I'd literally never heard of her a single time ever before his death. Like, if it was up to, if you were just asking me, you could probably convince me with enough evidence that she literally had no public knowledge of her existed before her death, or before his death, and I'd believe you. That, like, it came into existence after he died, and that was the first time she'd ever made a public appearance of any kind, I'd believe you. That she just spawned in, yeah.
Video where she showed herself conversing with Charlie in his casket. Erika truly stepped into the spotlight when she addressed the world, declaring that his message would never die.
My name is Erika Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed.
I like how that was technically Charlie Kirk's corpse. Everyone's like, Charlie's corpse. I just didn't even notice. I noticed, but I was just like, eh.
Across this entire country. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I miss you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so
He went to a butterfly farm. That's what you say.
much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget.
What followed this was the glitz.
I'm sorry, I'm a bad person. I'm sorry, I'm going to hell. Don't laugh, hold on. I'm sorry, her being the way she is what's funny, not the orphan child.
The Trump-sponsored memorial service for her husband, during which she made a speech where she offered an olive branch to the killer.
That man, that young man, I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love.
Before taking the stage, both Erika and...
Okay. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna call this out really quick. Why is Jesus so constantly mischaracterized by Christians? Because when they want to make Jesus sound like the most forgiving, turn the other cheek, what, yeah, he was kind of guy ever, they do. But then they'll also acknowledge the fact that Jesus was also willing to, like, enforce his morals to some extent in other cases. You know what I mean? Like, bro didn't he go in and, like, wreck like gambling stalls and stuff like that, people who were giving out, like, predatory loans and like gambling fences and gambling why am I blanking on the word right now, like guys who would take bets and stuff. Like, wouldn't he go in and wreck their shit, basically, like start riots in the street? Like, you know, I'd say that, you know, he was definitely forgiving and loving and stuff, but if you want to not mischaracterize. I mean, bro was definitely not a big fan of people extorting people with people's faith. Like any kind of extortion of faith, which ironically is exactly what's happening using the death of Charlie, is extorting people using their faith, trying to get money out of them. Jesus wasn't a big fan of that. That's just factual.
And her team probably envisioned this as an empowering moment, which showed her as an empathic woman who could rise above the terrible pain she'd endured. But ultimately, this isn't how audiences perceived it. Instead, the vast majority of people basically felt it was performative. After the public basically seemed eager to reject her, you would think that Erika may have retreated to the sidelines and focused on her family. Instead, she wound up taking the reins of Turning Point USA and doing her utmost to promote Charlie's posthumously released book. This led to a lot of interviews, but it was clear that this wasn't something that came natural to her. And with every quote or public appearance, the comments eviscerated her.
I feel
Dude, even with trying to weaponize Christianity to her side, even with a dead husband, even with, her children being, orphaned, it's so heavy-handed. It's such... Hell, I saw a short the other day that had, 5 million likes. Just a ridiculous amount of engagement, and an absurd amount of views. And it was the clip of the Gangnam Style guy going out on stage to perform the song, and it's him squatting and getting ready to get launched up onto the stage, and it's just captioned, Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk's husband dies, her for no reason, and then it's just the video of him coming out on stage and the whole crowd cheering with the fireworks and everything. So, if she really wanted to come off as a genuinely mourning widow, frankly, having no public presence for the last year, or for the last few months, would have been the best way to do it. Spending a year off the internet and out of the public eye would be the best way to convince people you're actually mourning. The immediately coming out on stage with, fireworks and explosions and fucking rock music or whatever that happened when she, did that event, a week after his death. It just was the start of a lot of people recognizing how insincere it all is. How the fact that the Republican Party saw one of their most dedicated members and advocates die publicly via an assassination, and then used it. They were like, this is a great opportunity to get some political W's. I think people are starting to realize that now.
And with every quote or public appearance, the comments eviscerated her.
I feel like they were almost directed to me. And he's basically saying, stop. The world does not revolve around you. You need a moment to breathe. You need a moment to recalibrate. If you are so filled with busyness and the noise, the Lord cannot use you. So please rest, be with the Lord, be with your family, and just know that there is so much more out there than the little busyness that you find.
You can see it's the Candace Owens fans are in the comments. These are not progressives and normies. These are conservatives. These are the Candace Owens Groiper section of the right that are fomenting a lot of this.
To be drowning in it sometimes.
By now, we know that the internet can be mean-spirited just for the sake of it.
There they
Just
are.
look at some of the memes that have emerged about her husband. But for Turning Point supporters, Erika's decision to become the face of the movement presented deeper problems. For starters, there were concerns that she wasn't quite the grieving widow people believed her to be.
Nights. But it's interesting, what I miss the most, what really just hits me hard, is when I'm in the grocery store and I see his hot sauce, I want to buy it. Or it's the little things, his clothes.
Bro. That's so bad. Oh my god, she's literally doing an ad for... I did not know Charlie Kirk had hot sauce, but for one... Okay, where do we start? There's so much to deconstruct there. Oh my god. Okay, so for starters, imagine trying to do this relatable mourning widow thing, yeah, you know how hard it is to lose a family member. You're in the grocery store, and you see the products that are named after them, and it reminds you, yeah, there's my grandma's hot sauce brand. You just can't stop being reminded of her. You know, like for one, the idea that you have a family member who passed away who has any kind of brand product in grocery stores, not relatable at all. So that was already funny. But what's really funny is the only reason she brought that up is clearly to go on Fox and Friends and say, hey, Fox and Friends audience, by the way, did you guys know there's anti-woke right-wing Charlie Kirk hot sauce? Did you know that as his wife, I now inherit all of his like assets and ownership of his companies and whatnot? Buy that hot sauce. I know I did. Like, oh, it's so shameless. Holy shit. And yeah, in case you're wondering, unless some very particular agreement was come to, then yeah, Erika Kirk would be literally just inheriting all of Charlie Kirk's wealth and his assets, including his company, if I'm not mistaken. Any companies he owns. So, I guess now she's the CEO/owner of Charlie Kirk Hot Sauce.
Is everywhere. Excuse me, but it's the little things, and I know that people who've experienced loss totally understand what I'm saying. It's the small things that just get you.
Why is it frozen?
It's the visual of,
okay, I think that was the
you know,
clip.
Taddy coming home, and to the world he was Charlie Kirk, but to us he was my love of my life and my children's dad. I'm so sorry.
Before long, it got so bad that people were
I thought she meant just a brand he likes. No. Charlie Kirk was selling hot sauce, and now she is making all the money off of the sales of that hot sauce, because she owns it now. I don't want Kirk sauce getting in my mouth. Yeah, no one wants any Charlie Kirk in their mouth. Erika Kirk's exactly like the Bride of Chucky. Wow, she really does. Oh my god. The eyes. Dude. You see what I mean now, right? Don't do this to me. No, I'm doing it to you. Look at that shit. Holy fuck. I think she might have killed Charlie, guys. Not only do I think she ordered it, I don't think she just ordered it. I think she did it. I think she did it.
coding her mannerisms to try and determine her
She's the one who dosed him with that fent, I'm telling you.
true motives, while many of them simply longed for the time where she wasn't a public-facing figure.
Hey, this is not a grieving woman. And we had a grief counselor on here. We had a body language expert on here. Both of them said, the grief counselor said, this is not grief. You know, the everybody grieves differently thing. I know that. I have seen plenty of women grieve in my lifetime. I have seen that personally.
That's a fun quote. I've seen a lot of women cry and grieve in my lifetime, guys. A lot.
In my life, people that I know, watching women grieve. They do. They all grieve differently. But this is not grief.
We owe Charlie Kirk an apology. We were like, how dare you say women should stay at home? But now that we've seen a lot of Erika, it's like, oh, okay. I still don't agree, but I do get where you were coming from. But if she thought things were going bad beforehand, it was nothing compared to what was to come when Charlie's supporters believed that she crossed a line she couldn't come back from. During an event, Erika was seen hugging Vice President JD Vance in a way that some people deemed to be a little too close for comfort. And when it was paired with quotes like this, where she lavished praise on Vance, these were not the best optics.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD.
Such a weird quote.
And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against, and he can articulate that in a way that transcends. He's an amazing man.
Suddenly, she received major blowback from some portions of the right, while others were quick to point out that she is documented as being friends with JD's wife, Usha. In response, she claimed it was commonplace for her to touch people like that.
I'm starting to cry. He says he's so proud of you, and I say, God bless you, and I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Usually when a girl hugs you, especially because they're typically shorter than you, it's like the arms over the shoulders type deal. Like they've got their arms over your shoulders and they're kind of like wrapping around your upper side, and you're kind of like around their midsection, you know, or even like a side hug kind of deal if it's a little less like close. If you're just kind of like 60% close and not 100% close, you might do that kind of like side hug, like hip to hip kind of deal. But full on like pressing like chest to chest, neck to neck, chin to shoulder, hand on the back of the head. I mean, dog. I'll tell you this. When you put your hand on someone's head, when you're in an embrace like that, you're holding them there. You're keeping them from moving back and getting away. You're controlling the head. You know, anyone who's done wrestling or jiu-jitsu knows the body follows where the head goes. You know, she locked him into that hug.
So, if anyone...
They were acting like you touched the back of his ass.
I feel like I wouldn't get as much hate if...
I mean... Come on. Are we really pretending like that didn't look how it did?
I did that.
However, a whole lot of the social media world that you would have...
Also, what is she doing? Her husband died like a month and a half ago, and she's on stage talking about how people... like, and she's laughing and joking around. Like, come on.
Expected to be behind her, kept claiming that there was something inherently fraudulent about her behavior. Among the main sticking points was the frequent claim that she was shedding some crocodile tears in her interviews, as well as attending lavish fundraisers at Mar-a-Lago.
Let everyone see what true evil is. It's interesting. What I miss the most, what really just hits me hard, is when I'm in the grocery store and I see his hot sauce. I want to buy it. Or it's the little things, you know, his clothes everywhere. Excuse me, but it's the little things. And I know that people who have experienced loss totally understand what I'm saying. It's the small things that just get you. It's the visual of, you know, Daddy coming home, and to the world he was Charlie Kirk, but to us he was my love of my life and my children's dad. I'm so sorry.
Understandable.
Excuse me, but it's those little things where, again, he would walk through the door, drop his bags, Daddy's home, take his phone Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the junk drawer, and it was just all us. And that's what I always wanted to make so special for him, was coming home. I'd always say, baby, I don't care what time you get home.
Well, that's a line that's gonna get picked apart by a lot of people online. I think we all know the kind of people that are gonna go after her use of words there.
It's here for you. Your food will never be cold. It might sit out for a little bit, but I'll reheat it. It's fine. And I just want to encourage spouses, don't get mad. It's so easy.
Although you could once again make the argument that everyone grieves differently, and that...
Mind you, like, half the internet is already trying to claim that Erika Kirk was some kind of Israeli Mossad asset that, like, honeypotted Charlie Kirk. So...
perhaps she doesn't come across well in the media. Individuals who've seen her at times where the cameras are off are just as unimpressed.
I've seen Erika Kirk in real life at church since Charlie died, and I will tell you that the performance in real life is as bad as it is on TV. I'm talking reserved front row pew, bringing her whole entourage, not her children, showing up late, dabbing her eyes when she walks back from communion because it's the one time that the whole church can see her because she's in the front row. Before you jump down my throat and say, oh, it's security purposes. No, it's not, because this church has a side section that is closer to the exit that she comes in and out of, and where only probably about 5% of the church would actually be able to see her if that's where she was sitting. But no, front row seat, the whole circus.
As her persona unravels and is dissected piece by piece.
I'm not gonna lie, that lady's got a cross tattoo. And I don't think Erika Kirk has any crosses tattooed on her. Okay, I'm just saying, who do you think's more dedicated to the whole Christian thing?
Erika is now facing the very real prospect of the past coming back to haunt. Because once they began to actively distrust the image she put forth, people began dredging up every little thing from her past which contradicts the holier-than-thou image she's portraying today. So here's what we know about Erika before she met Charlie. For one thing, she was a model who wasn't afraid to show a little skin.
What? Of course. Oh no. Oh no. No, don't tell me. Don't tell me the weirdos online might be onto something about Erika Kirk being like a honeypot. Oh,
Along
no.
the way, she was even named Miss Arizona.
Scottsdale, Caitlin Willenchik.
This I knew about.
Your new Miss Arizona USA 2012 is Erika Franzway.
So does this mean that, like, Erika Kirk was voted, like, the prettiest girl doing the pageant in the state of Arizona? Because if that's true, avoid Arizona if you're, like, a single guy. Because apparently Erika Kirk is the best you can do.
Afterwards, she appeared on a Bravo reality show known as Summer House, which is billed as following a group of young single friends from New York City who share a rented house in the Hamptons every summer weekend, balancing city jobs with a fun, party-filled lifestyle of romance, drama, and escapism. When she turned up on episode 11 and 12 of season 3, she...
Okay, listen, rip me apart if you will, but I'm not gonna hide what I believe and what I'm getting at here. It feels like Charlie Kirk tried to turn a hoe into a housewife. Maybe he succeeded, but it seems like a lot of people believe he didn't, and that she was in fact some kind of honeypot, or at least now has just taken the opportunity to grift off of the husband who she never was that close to in the first place's death. Because it really just gets... I'm getting the vibe that, like, Charlie was just rich and successful and managed to marry a model. And the only stipulation was she has to be more modest and pretend to be Christian. Because, I mean, come on, dude. Can't spell housewife without hoe. That's true.
Did so in the capacity of her new love interest for a character known as Carl.
I think you're a bright light in a very dark place.
So let's go grab a mojito?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily anything crazy, except for her claiming repeatedly that she didn't date before meeting Charlie for around 5 years.
When I lived out
she's
here,
super
I was
fake.
here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going, I don't drink.
Brunch?
I find it unproductive, not because
Fucking
I'm
liberal?
holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. My situation was a little different. I wouldn't do it.
You went to a job interview.
Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview.
But it takes very minimal digging to realize that is a complete fabrication. However, what many people did not know is that not only did she date, but appeared to be in a relationship with a colleague of Charlie's. The man in question is Cabot Phillips, now senior editor at the Daily Wire, and previous...
Ooh! Oh, shit. Okay. Alright. Now we're getting into some juicy stuff. Alright.
Editor-in-chief at Campus Reform, who also worked on digital grassroots for Marco Rubio's 2016 campaign. But his most notable role came as Charlie's producer. In a bizarre twist, deleted posts appeared to suggest that Phillips was actually with Erika prior to Kirk, and that there was a lot of effort made to cover it up.
Oh, what is going on? What is going on? Dude. I'm telling you, there is some degenerate shit happening behind the scenes. I've never, like, every bit of, like, inside info into the personal lives of these popular right-wing figures that I've gotten, I've been given the impression that they're all, like, degenerate sex pests. Someone who actually did a really good job of exposing this is Lauren Southern. Lauren Southern got sexually harassed repeatedly by numerous prominent right-wing male figures, notably Paul Joseph Watson, and then she just leaked all of the messages and outed them. And, like, PJW to this day is living down his, like, incel, nice guy, desperate, like, attempts to sex pester Blair White. Or not Blair White, Lauren Southern. So yeah, a lot of these right-wing figures who present themselves a certain way, a very, like, clean Christian way, they tend to be the most insane behind the scenes. And I think we all know this, like, just from living personal life. Like, I lost my virginity to a girl who was, like, a hardcore Christian, I have never met a girl freakier since. Which is saying a lot. I'm gonna be real. I think the people who are loudest and proudest about how modest and whatnot they are probably the freakiest behind the scenes. And I think that's exactly the case here. I also think it's a lot of it is like, within reason, making anything sexual a taboo can eventually open up doors to fetishizing it for some. So just like making all types of sexual activity a taboo through your entire life, very likely once you start getting older, it's going to be this like, you're going to have a really unhealthy, addictive relationship with it once you start actually having it, which is, I think, what happens to a lot of like 19, 20, 21-year-olds who grow up Christian and then they start having sex and they just go overboard with it. You know what I mean? A lot of this shit's been buried.
In addition
I don't know,
to
I
saying
think
that she didn't...
I think they could add some freaky stuff going on. Some kind of... Maybe, like, they had a kind of polycule going. That wouldn't surprise me.
Date. Erika has also stated that she didn't drink. So how exactly do you explain this quote from an article written by her, where she talks about happy hour with my favorite human, JT Massey, conveniently my incredible boyfriend, or these posts which her activity promoting alcohol or hosting a club night?
Ooh.
Yeah, not a good look. Once all this was out in the public domain, there were some who...
It's okay, though. It's not suspicious, because she hid it, and it's in her past, so there's nothing suspicious about that, right?
Who felt that there was just no way back for Charlie's widow. All credibility is gone. Hypocrisy at its finest. It's easy to assess Erika's personality from here. She should be held accountable for telling falsehoods to paint a perfect, pretty picture. But while all this contradicts certain aspects of her current public appearance, delving deeper and following the money has led some people to think that what's truly going on with her is even crazier than just her seeming a little deceptive.
I think we're about to get into the Israeli honeypot theory here.
And Tyler Boyer isn't the only one that's close to orphanages in Eastern Europe around TPUSA. Erika Kirk herself is another one. She's been tied to orphanages in Eastern Europe, specifically in Romania, through a program called Romania.
Yeah, they also claim that she might be, like, working for the Mossad, but herself could be from Eastern Europe. Yeah, it's a whole thing. There's a big conspiracy around it. We're about to find it out, I'm sure.
Romanian Angels since she was a teenager. When she was 17 years old, she founded Romanian Angels as a nonprofit. So in effect, since Erika's childhood, she's been running orphanages in Eastern Europe, a trafficking hotbed. Is that normal activity for a 17-year-old girl to be involved with? Of course it's not. But when your father is a high-ranking member of the military-industrial complex linked to Israel's Iron Dome and American arms sales to the pariah state, and when your mother is geofencing and data mining, and she's a propagandist who's tied directly to the Israeli Foreign Affairs Ministry, maybe hanging around orphanages really isn't all that unusual.
Because Stu Peters can get a little carried away, let's try and determine exactly what is a fact here. Yes, Erika ran an evangelical ministry in Romania that contracted with the US military and fostered children for adoption. This organization was based in the same area in Romania where trafficking is rampant, but there is nothing to suggest they were involved. As for her parents, they are divorced, with Erika's mom spending nearly 2 decades working for General Electric before founding multiple companies in the network security industry. Meanwhile, her father, Kent France, worked as a program manager for Raytheon, a defense...
Is that the only photo that exists of him?
...contractor with US government ties, including Israel. For many people, this is an intriguing development, especially when it comes to comments Erika made in a new CBS town hall alongside Barry Wise.
Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together, and to be able to walk in the place...
This is a big part of what just doesn't ring plausible about Candace Owens' conspiracy mongering, is that I've seen no evidence at any point of Charlie Kirk, like, wavering on his hardcore support of Israel. Like, the only relevant clip is that iconic one of him, like, celebrating the murder of Palestinians and said, maybe you shouldn't be killing Jews, you idiots. I think that's what he says. Yeah, like, he was such a hardcore Zionist. at least as far as I know, to the moment he died, it doesn't really seem likely that Israel would be behind his death. I've heard some, I even have personal friends who believe that Israel used him as a sacrificial lamb, that, like, he was pro-Israel and they killed him in order to, like, polarize people in favor. I don't know. I think Israel has a tendency to break a lot of people's brains. The fact that Israel does so much evil shit and gets away with it, for a lack of a better term, drives people so crazy that now they see Israel everywhere. You know, everyone's a hammer now and everything's a nail.
Where our Lord walked, and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor. How could you hate that place?
Now, no one is suggesting Kirk was an anti-Semite. Erika paints a picture of Charlie as a man who was unquestionably in favor of Israel. And to put it bluntly, this is not necessarily true. For one thing, he regularly critiqued the Israeli government's behavior in Palestine, as well as their intersections with US politics at large.
I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay?
Before Charlie Kirk was killed, he said Charlie Kirk feared...
Play the full clip, though, because I know that clip. Because he doesn't go on to say that's bad. I'll tell you that.
That Israel...
It is interesting he said, I've got to be careful about the way I say this. That is an interesting line, though.
...will kill him if he continues ahead, providing space for Israel critics.
Charlie kind of starting to question the amount of influence that Israel has in U.S., not only domestic politics, but foreign politics as well.
I just don't think we should go to war with Iran. Is a nuclear weapon Iran a threat to America? Probably. Could be. A threat to Israel, but is it a threat to America? I mean, India has nuclear weapons. Pakistan has nuclear weapons.
Beyond that, he went to the lengths of arguing that Jeffrey Epstein...
Well, ironically, India and Pakistan hate each other more than they do anyone else, so that's one of the big reasons why we don't care that much.
Epstein was an Israeli intelligence agent.
That Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. It's nothing new that if you're in the...
That is the conspiracy, by the way. That is the popular conspiracy, which is also repeated by many of the same people that believe Charlie Kirk was silenced. Fuck, I'm not gonna lie. This shit's starting to look a little more plausible. Not gonna lie, guys. Maybe he was getting a little bit out of line before they came along and said, silence, Charlie.
Intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence...
In this lengthy interview on CBS,
Play the full clip! I want to see the full clip of that. That's an interesting one. Yeah, the common claim, and there is some pretty plausible stuff to go with it, is that Epstein supposedly made his wealth basically from nothing. Like, as a broke college student, made his wealth through the stock market, just being a really smart trader. But to go from broke as a joke to so wealthy that millionaires and billionaires hang out with you, like, you've got to... Like, the amount of movement that causes in the market is the kind of thing you can go back decades later and see and tie directly to one guy getting rich in a short time period. You can see the effect that has in the market. Even decades later, you can go back and see the effect that would have on the market. And the fact is, everyone from, like, Warren Buffett to, who's the other big stock guy? It was Warren Buffett and... he's another big name that I'm just blanking on his name right now. But, like, a bunch of the biggest, like, most successful stock trading guys whose names you just know, they went and they investigated. I don't think it was Mark Cuban, no. They investigated it, and there just isn't any signs that somebody like Epstein went from having as much money in the market as Epstein to the amount Epstein would end up having by the end of his inflation of wealth. There's just no movement in the market to suggest that he could... Yeah, maybe it might have been Soros. I'm not sure, though. there just isn't any evidence that Epstein got rich the way he says he did at the time that he said he did. And if he had, there's very good chance you'd be able to tell looking at past year's data from the market, but it's not there. Like, it's a complete, evidence-wise, outside of what Epstein said, it's a mystery where he got his wealth from.
Erika really tried to wrangle the narrative back in her favor, but to all the viewers, it just seemed like a facade. While others feel that the pro-Zionist direction that she's moving Turning Point USA in is transparent. I feel sorry for Erika, but she's making a fool of herself. Now that there's no sign of her time in the spotlight letting up, it's clear that Erika has more storms to weather. Considering how much controversy there is around the subject of Israel, pushing this narrative is just one of the reasons why many people have had some difficulty accepting the official narrative surrounding her husband's death. And for much of that time, one of the people who has been most forcefully pushing for answers is a former friend of the family.
Candace
But in
Owens.
recent days, there has been speculation that she's been compromised too. In recent months, Candace Owens has pressed for answers to the point that she and Erika wound up at one another's throats. Practically from the moment that it happened, Candace was claiming Kirk knew what fate awaited him, whether it was due to a dinner with Israeli donors or messages about an unknown they who were coming after them.
I want to say one more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this.
Okay, here's the thing though. Candace has yet to show any actual evidence. It's always claim after claim after claim after claim and promises that people have told her off record something. Or that she's going to show the evidence in her next live stream. And then we watch her next live stream, and she doesn't show any evidence to back up her claims she made in the last one. She comes out with a bunch of new claims that she then promises to show evidence of in the next live stream. Rinse and repeat. She's been doing this for 3 months straight, pulling millions of views every video. It's insane.
In a written communication from Charlie.
But like what you're seeing here is a perfect example of what she's been doing in every video. I have been told off the record by insert unnamed person.
One who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay, he did not express that to me, so I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people who I think are good will be inspired to come forward with that. Again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across
Look, she's pretending to be a real journalist.
Across the world, for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, you know, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they?
God, could you imagine if Charlie Kirk had gotten assassinated the next day on 9/11? How much of a meme that would have been?
Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him?
And despite some of her critics insisting that she was wreaking havoc on a widow with her dismissal of the official narrative, Candace kept refusing to back down in her quest for the truth.
Butterfly writes, and I should actually first, let's read the top comment from last episode. This person wrote, Issa Rae wrote, Erika Kirk will forgive someone 1 week later for murdering her husband, but she won't forgive someone for not believing the FBI narrative. I saw a lot of people commenting that online, that the energy definitely feels different for people that want to get to the truth than it does for...
Listen, Candace Owens is full of shit and is grifting like crazy, but man, I can't be mad seeing the right at each other's throats over this. It's a great outcome. For a while, it looked like the death of Charlie Kirk was a death knell for the left and progressivism, with how much people were being sympathetic to Charlie Kirk and his insane politics as they were getting normalized. And, you know, Charlie Kirk's white nationalism wasn't that crazy. He just had the normal beliefs that your uncle would have, right? That nonsense. I'm so glad to see the right was not successfully able to martyr him in the way that they are trying to. It really does feel like Charlie Kirk has gone from being a victim of tragedy to the subject of nonstop memeing. Like, the Agartha Kirk memes are everywhere. It's unescapable. I don't know, guys. Fuck Candace Owens, but I gotta say, she's doing a good work in tearing down the right from the inside. So keep up the good work, Candace. Get that bag. and take the bag away from the rest of the right in the process. That's what I like to see. Anyway, folks, if you end up enjoying this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable, leave a like and a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, make sure to check out Lou Extra's video. If, when I'm editing this at like 2 a.m., I don't forget to put it in the description, it'll be down there. Let me know if I forget in the comments. But if you also ended up enjoying and watching this far, comment down below, conspiracy, to let me know you watched this far. It'll be our code word. I appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you for watching, and as always, I hope to see you again next time.